much for tuning in. It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday. And here's our guest. I was gonna invite you up. Yes. Pretend that nothing happened so far. Yes. Okay. Today's guest. Woo! Pleased to present this is the incredible Larry Goldings. I don't know if people can hear it. Okay.
Hey.
Yes, incredible.
How y'all doing?
Yes, great.
Am I on the frame?
You is.
All right. Hello.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Say hello to Jersey. Jersey, thank you.
Hi, Jersey.
From Poland. Thank you, Phil. Somebody Boston, thank you for becoming my YouTube subscriber. Thank you. Appreciate it. And if you have questions, let me know. But I prepared some questions. So I'm going to interview Larry. And they all just enjoy. We're just going to kind of talk. So I hope that's going to work. And I hope you can hear me. I'm pretty loud. I just have one microphone close to Larry. So let me know if you can't really hear shit. Pouring tea now.
I love that.
Very loose. Okay. Let me ask the question so Larry can start talking. Larry, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure, Miki.
Thank you. Okay. Please talk about yourself. Who are you?
I'm Larry Goldings, from a suburb of Boston, Massachusetts.
That's right. You're from Boston. That's crazy.
I'm from Newton, Mass, and came here to New York for college. I skipped a lot right there, but if you want to hear anything about the first 18 years, I could go back. But I think of myself as a New Yorker, and in that's where all the initial music, getting into the music world really happened professionally, and school and everything.
Cool.
And since 2001, I've been living in Los Angeles with my family.
When did you say?
2001.
2001.
Right before the July or August before September 11th. That was really wild.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Interesting timing.
Here.
Thank you. Ah! I can't play.
I can't play anymore. Someone asked if, are you still a Red Sox fan? I don't think you care about. I don't think you care anything about sports, do you?
Spit take there.
Yeah.
A terrible spit take. I by default, I guess I'm for the Red Sox, but I know nothing, as you know, I know nothing about sports.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
I don't really follow sports. I'll watch tennis if it's on, maybe. So Red Sox, Sox. I mean, they're great, right? They're great. But I don't know. That's the one with the little ball, right? In the glove. Yeah.
It's the baseball.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a huge Yankee fan.
I know you are. You go to games all the time.
All the time. Like Jimmy said, we went to a game 20 times last year.
Wow. That's
and
fun.
people will be like, "Oh, do you have season ticket?" And it's like, "No, we don't."
Do you get hot dogs and beers every time?
Not every time.
No.
It gets expensive. It's not that good anyway. Right. Yeah. Beer costs $18. Did you know?
Oh my God, how times have changed.
Times have changed. Okay. Okay. So here's the question. So look, this is my first time doing Miki's Mood Unhinged. I like the word unhinged.
Yeah, I'm a little scared of that, but
we might scream.
Let's see where it goes.
I'm gonna ask some like a mediocre questions or some curveball questions.
Okay.
So here's the number one that I always want to ask people.
Okay.
Well, it's like a musical related thing, but
okay.
So when in your life, the point that you thought that you were gonna be a professional musician.
I'd say around 14 or 15. I
Wow.
just didn't think that there was anything else as fun. There wasn't anything else that that I had felt some like natural gift for. And it's all I thought about. It's all I did. And that age coincided with approximately when I went to the Eastman summer high school jazz program in Rochester. That's the summer I met Peter Bernstein.
Wow.
And all these crazy characters. This guy Joey Cavacino, great saxophone player who turned me on to a lot of music, as did Peter. Turned me on to a lot of jazz that I wasn't listening to, like Duke Ellington and even really Bird, for that matter. I mean,
Wow.
it was a lot of going back into the past that I hadn't done in a thorough way, you know.
Cool.
So, and just the fact that was the first summer I was ever around other kids my age who were as obsessed with this thing,
Right.
and who were better than me and were like making me realize that.
Is Peter the same age?
Peter's
As you?
about a year older
Okay.
than me.
But
So
like
he
you
was-
went to the same camp.
Camp. He was going to go into his senior year in high school, and I think I was going to go into my junior year in high school. And it was that summer that, again, through Joey, that we all heard about, because he was friendly with Arnie Lawrence, and he heard about through Arnie the beginning of this new school program. So
That's why y'all.
yeah, so
went.
I was like somehow convinced my parents, even though we applied to a few different colleges.
Which else?
NEC.
NEC. Wow, that would have been different.
I remember
too.
doing an interview there with Jim McNeely.
Wow.
think he
Jim
was-
McNeely taught there.
Jim McNeely. I
Was
think
MSM a thing already then, or
was what?
Manhattan School of
I
Music?
think. Oh, you know what? I don't know.
Because I knew that like Jim McNeely used to teach at, or still I don't know, teach at the MSM. So.
I don't know how long Manhattan's been there.
Okay.
But and I think we went to look at some more liberal art schools. Where did we go? Not Wesleyan. Oberlin.
Ooh. Oberlin's
I would.
supposed to
I
be
don't
good
think I
too,
would
right?
ever have gotten in there though.
Yeah?
Academically, but I think we looked at it. You know.
Right.
But to my parents' credit, they were like, okay, go. Yeah. They obviously knew that I loved it. And I guess I convinced them that New York was the place to
Cool.
go.
Awesome.
And that I had friends there already.
Yeah.
And I had visited Peter in New York while I was in high school, you know, after the Eastman thing, to get a feel of like what that would be like, you know.
Right.
And he's born and bred in New York, so he really made me gave me that education about New York initially, and so that made me feel more comfortable about moving there. Although it was a very big step for me to move to a city like that, you know.
Even like, it's both same East Coast.
Yeah, but I didn't grow up like in the city. I grew up in a suburb.
Like
You
really
know.
suburb.
Yeah.
Not like busy area.
Yeah. Didn't grow up in Boston.
Glad.
I mean, knew Boston basically, but grew up in a suburb.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I knew pretty early
Wow,
on. I might have
early.
been knew. I mean, as soon as I was really like learning music by ear, and which is how it happens for most of us. But it wasn't jazz. I was listening to like Billy Joel and Stevie Wonder and the
Right.
Beatles, and I was into pop music. And still am.
Yeah.
And that's how I'd learned about music. Taught myself like harmony to an extent, and then I had teachers, local teachers in the Boston area, who were like telling me about that chord is called this, and if you want to find a better voice, I had a really good teacher.
Yeah, I
early
was
on.
gonna say. Like,
Yeah, this
you
guy
have
Peter Casino was the guy who first taught me about.
Peter Casino,
Yeah.
like the casino, like the.
Yeah, I think it was with 2 S's.
Okay.
And he was like my first, really influential. I had a guy at music camp. I went to a music camp when I was 12 called Camp Encore in Maine, Sweden, Maine. And there was a guy there named Dave Kozlov.
Sweden, Maine.
Yeah. guy there named David Casalongo. That was my first jazz piano teacher.
David Casalongo?
And the main thing I remember about
Names
David
are funny.
was that at the end of the summer, he had typed out a list of like 100 records.
Ah!
Like, literally
those are
typed it
helpful,
out.
no? Yeah.
He's like, start here and
Right.
you'll be in good shape. And I remember how that list looked. And I remember I went to, the record store and, so, and then Peter Casino. And then Peter, after 2 or 3 years with Peter, one day I came in and he said, I got to send you to somebody else.
Ooh.
He said,
That's
I don't
a
know
high
how
level.
much more, he said there's this guy, Rand Blake,
Ding ding.
who's known for the third stream department at the New England Conservatory. But I was still in high school, so I would go to Rand's apartment in Brookline, Mass. And did that for a while, and that was all very, very important for me. Rand is very eclectic in what he knows and what he that's a big part of his whole concept, is that you draw from everything that's great about all music. It's not just jazz.
Right.
And so he would give me cassettes every week that had a Bud Powell solo and then a Bartok theme.
Wow.
And then something else, I don't know. And it was all over the place. And he would say, come back next week and sing these themes to me.
Wow.
And that was one of his, he did that with all his students. And he is not one of these like hard swinging piano players. He would probably say that about himself. He's his thing is much more about the theater of what you can do dramatically with music and sound and touch
On the piano.
on
right?
the piano.
Like, yeah.
And also he was very big on how to structure a concert of, say, solo piano,
Okay.
or how to structure the performance of one piece.
Yeah. I like.
Like in school, they tell you to make an outline of how the structure is going to be of the paper.
Okay. Yeah.
He would do this kind of thing with me. We would just talk about, let's make an outline of what the kinds of things that could happen, so you can create a sense of drama or a sense of variety, things moving forward, and and so that you're not just playing. That you have a journey. Even within just one tune, and then beyond that, what's the journey? What's the structure of the whole concert?
I think that's very important thing to teach.
I think
or be
so.
taught, whatever.
Yeah.
You decide.
Like, how can you mix up the repertoire? How can you? What's going to make tune 1 different from tune 2? Texturally and emotionally and stuff like that.
Right.
So
That's very
he
cool.
put those thoughts into my head very early on, and
That's super cool.
yeah. So he turned me on to music that I would never have heard at that age, if it weren't for someone like him curating my listening.
Right.
Which also Dave Liebman did when I finally went to the new school.
Okay.
Dave Liebman had a great class where he just brought in stacks of his own record collection. And we listened to everything from flamenco singers to the Bulgarian Women's Choir, I think is when I first heard that, to avant-garde jazz that he figured probably only a few people had heard. And I just got turned on to so much music through, I thought that was just a great...
Was it a class or like a private
It was
lesson?
a class.
Was a class, and he'd just be playing a bunch
Like,
of
check
music.
this out, and we'd talk about it and
that's
how
so
it might
cool.
relate to something that we could do on our instruments, or
Right.
and I would love to. I've always thought about teaching a class like that.
Yeah.
Especially, ironically, now there's so much that's at your fingertips because of the internet.
Right.
It's, I think, almost too much for a young person, like trying to figure out what should I listen to now that's going to advance me.
Yeah. It's like it's too much. Like
Just everybody and their grandmother has a record. Actually, everybody check out my grandma's record. It's pretty killing. Bass player. Electric.
Really?
No.
Not definitely not electric, but
No. So it's like within all this clutter, what should we be listening to? You know, and I think it's only one person's opinion, but if anybody likes my playing or your playing, then it would be really interesting for them to know what are the things that influenced you. So
right.
I used to like reading interviews with pianists or musicians and finding out that this particular record or this particular artist was really influential. You know, if Herbie Hancock says Ravel is the greatest thing that ever happened to music, then you better start checking out some Ravel.
Yeah, if you like Herbie.
If you like Herbie, you know.
I love Ravel, yeah.
It's
cool.
So I follow the advice of the people that I really look up to, and that can be a very quick way to discovery, you know.
Cool. So then now I have a question that who, like if you have to name like 5, it doesn't have to be jazz.
Okay.
But jazz could be in 5 composers or like players that influenced you in a earlier time, like when Rand showed you or Dave Liebman showed you that it's like, oh shit, I didn't know this and I really liked it. Like, do you remember?
Composers or players?
Either.
Oh, either.
Either, honestly. Because classical, then it's composer, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard.
And it doesn't have to be 5.
Certainly, someone like Ravel from the French side of things, because that's so tied in to impressionistic jazz, like Bill Evans and Herbie and things like that. Bach. Not that I haven't played a lot of any of that repertoire because I didn't really grow up playing classical music, but listening and analyzing
Ravel and
Bach.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Bach is just so important in every music. Let's see. It's kind of a broad question, but you know, early on I was really into the bluesy piano players, Oscar Peterson, things like that, and bluesy music, Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
The Beatles. I mean, it's sort of all over the place with me.
Yeah.
You know, early on, Billy Joel. I wanted to be Billy Joel. You know,
right.
Who I learned a lot from, and I actually got to tell him this because I met him at a event I was doing with James Taylor, and I went up to him and I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Joel. My name's Larry Goldings. I'm here with James Taylor." He said, "I have to tell you that I really learned about like harmony from analyzing your tunes." And he said to me, "Really?" And I just thought we had a real bond that day, and I thank him for that.
He was so not into it.
Really? I think he was having a bad day.
That's hilarious.
But anyway, I did. My ear was telling me as I was going from more simple blues things, the Beatles, to Billy Joel, to Steely Dan, to Stevie Wonder. I was realizing, oh, I love harmony. You know, I love the blues, but I also love harmony. So that's kind of what led me to jazz, you know.
Cool.
I don't think I just answered your question, but all those people I just named were very important to me as a kid. Stevie Wonder, you know, so much happening there.
I feel like your playing has not just if someone listens to you, like it's very obvious, like that your influence is not just jazz, you know.
Right.
It's like it's obvious. You can even if like when I'm hearing like the Peter and Bill like organ trio, I still can hear that your influence is just not just jazz.
And I think that's become more apparent since the 80s and since the 90s. You know, I think that I'm bringing that out more. since my early days, because in the beginning, when I first came to New York and I got into this very bebop-oriented scene, I was a little more afraid to step out of that in my playing, or to take gigs that weren't that. So since then, I'm much more free in what I decide to draw from, and I might be wrong about that. That's just the way I remember things. But I'm much more. I don't hide those influences anymore, you know. And sometimes it just comes out without me trying.
That's interesting. You even thought that you wanted to hide it a bit.
Oh yeah, I was afraid of the jazz police, as it were, you know. And I wanted to be, and I wanted to sound authentic, as authentic. I thought it was important
to really sound like jazz.
To try to sound authentic, you know, and I'm glad that, and I don't play bebop nearly as well as some people, obviously, but I'm glad that I trained that way, because you get a lot of skills from learning about bebop, you know.
Yes.
Phrasing and
I'm still trying to
sound is so important.
Yes.
And you know, it's technically difficult. Not that I actually didn't really learn a lot of the bebop heads. Like I think to this day I don't know how to play confirmation. But
that's hard. If I have to play it super correctly, I don't think I can do it. I can just kind of play it, you know.
Yeah, I never really. Yeah, come to think of it, I wasn't that thorough in my bebop training, because I don't really play those heads. But in terms of the language and the language and the, you know, how to play a triplet and how to, you know, all the Detroit piano players that we all love, who transferred more or less what Bird was doing, you know, onto the piano, in terms of the
like who
the ebb and flow of a line and how to breathe, like Barry Harris, like Tommy Flanagan.
Cool.
And I did gravitate to you know, that kind of piano player early on. But anyway, the answer to your question is 5 is not enough.
Yes,
but we'll probably you know.
Yeah, that's great. You were mentioning a bunch of people that, like,
Keith Jarrett was hugely
influence
important to me once I discovered him. And
when was that about? Remember?
Well, 12, 13, 14.
Okay.
But he had already made so many different kinds of records by then, and I think I was into some of the solo piano records, but I was also really into the Scandinavian band. I love the record My Song. I just it was so melodic, and the way he was an orchestrator as an accompanist behind Jan Gabrek was so influential to me.
Cool. Comping,
you know, and being an orchestrator and someone who just makes everybody else sound even better because of his choices.
I know.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you talked about harmony. You're super into harmony. It's like, here's another question that I want to ask everybody. So like I kind of mentioned that when we met up the other day, that people talk about the 3 big elements of music, I guess, not just jazz. That's like the rhythm, good time and stuff like that, or good sound, or like a good sense of harmony. Like, what do you think, like, the most important thing out of these 3?
Yeah.
What's your opinion? You said you love the harmony, but
I said that if you have all of those things, but not the time feel thing, or the steady time thing, good time, the other things, as advanced as they might be in your mind, won't have the effect that they could. I think if your time is shitty,
yes, if your time is shitty,
and my time can be shitty, but in general, if you're struggling with time feel, the harmony and the melodic part of what you have is going to be, first of all, it's going to be harder to play with others, or it's going to be harder for them to play with you.
Right. I feel like that latter sounds about right to me.
So, in a way, time, because you can have, there's great examples of people with great time who don't have a harmonic language that's like a jazz language, and it doesn't matter a bit. You just take, well, there's so many examples. I mean, if you take like James Brown at the organ, it's like or Ray Charles at the organ. No, Ray Charles knows about harmony, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's a great record, I think we talked about this too, called Blues plus Jazz equals Soul. Where I don't know if we were talking about this.
I don't think so.
Where he's got the raunchiest organ sound. Like, in any other context, it'd be like, why that sound? And it's just so soulful. And it's just so tasteful. And the time is so funky.
Yeah.
That his choices are so sparse and beautiful that it's like he could be playing a conch shell or something, and it would make you feel something. So I think someone's time feel and the ability to let your soulfulness come through is, in the end, more important. It's what I rely on when I'm struggling with an instrument, for instance. That's really hard action for me or something.
Right.
If I can just concentrate on the feel, that's going to be helpful for the band, and it's going to be helpful in terms of sounding like I'm saying something with feeling. Whereas, so I would say that's important. I was so into lush harmony for so many years. I loved Bill Evans. I had two people come up to me in the 90s telling me in one way, I have one story that's a good story but Paul Bley came to
Paul
hear. Paul Bley, I saw him out of the corner of my eye way back in the Village Gate days when I used to play solo piano there. And I saw Paul Bley. I was like, I think that's Paul Bley. What is he doing here? And then I got up from the piano, and he came up to me as if we were old friends. And he goes, what you ought to do. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I think you should collect up all your favorite records and throw them out the window.
Shit, that's what he said?
Is what Paul Bley said to me.
That's so incredible.
Never talked to him before in my life.
Dude.
And he wasn't an asshole. He was very nice, but that was exactly what he said to me. And I think at the time I felt horrible. I was like, oh God.
Dude, nobody says shit like that anymore.
Oh, well, Paul Bley would say anything.
Wow.
And then, right as I was feeling like kind of dejected, he said, what are you doing now? You want to get some coffee? And we went out and to another cafe in the West Village. And we had coffee and we hung out. And
just two of you?
Yeah. And then he did the weirdest thing.
Okay. I mean, that was not the weirdest thing.
That was pretty weird. This was back in the cassette days. He calls over the waitress, takes a cassette out of his jacket pocket. Will you put this on? And she's like,
what?
I guess. And the next thing I hear is Keith Jarrett Cone concert. So he gives the waitress a tape of Keith Jarrett Cone concert, but he never refers to it.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going like,
but you guys are still talking.
Yeah. And then we just keep talking, and I'm like, he's fucking with me. What's going on? What does this mean?
Yeah.
And then I guess he grabbed it before we left, but there was never any explanation.
Oh, what?
So
maybe he
I don't
just
know.
wanted
I
to
think
hear
he
it?
was the kind of guy who kind of liked to mess with people a little bit.
Wow.
But I really liked him, and I got to hang out with him several times after that. Anyway, coming back to
the lush harmony thing.
Yeah,
you loved it.
I have gone the other way.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. In not all the time, but for the most part, I like to thin things out now. I felt like one of the ways that I needed to what he was saying, of course, was stop listening to these people. And maybe he heard something of me enough to say,
Just get rid of it.
You've heard enough.
Yeah.
Now do you.
Yeah, yeah.
Find you. And I'm really grateful that he said that.
Well, like, do
because
you
that's
remember
important
how old
to
were
me.
you? Like, what kind of
20,
early 20s or something?
21, 22 maybe.
Wow.
Already working professionally and stuff.
Yeah. And but did you finish school?
I did.
So
but
like,
I
you
was
were
able
still in
to
school.
I was traveling though during school.
Right.
You know, I was out. I was.
Did they allow you? The new
Yes,
school was
they
cool?
were very encouraging about it.
Wow, that's cool.
They figured it was on the job training. You know, I went out with Christopher Holiday, the young wonderkind of the 90s,
Yeah.
80s, 90s. I went out with Jim Hall.
Yeah.
Well, was that still during school?
I know you were already touring with Jim.
Jim and Maceo. It was around the time I was graduating, 1990.
That's so crazy. Man, you played with Maceo.
John
That's
Hendricks,
so
of
crazy.
course. John Hendricks
Right.
before
that.
those other guys. But although John Hendricks and Jim Hall, those were overlapping. And anyway, a lot of that had to do with, you know, the fact that Jim was teaching at the new school.
He heard
John
you.
Hendricks heard me at the Bored shit.
Yeah, you did.
It's only been 2 minutes.
Only been 2 minutes. I thought they were talking about the sound thing.
Oh,
Oh,
I can hear me.
yeah, I can hear myself.
Coming sound, yes, okay.
Yes, okay. Wow.
Sound
When
restored.
when did
Anyway.
around when did it turn off? I don't have to hear myself. Okay, I'm trying to.
Is there a way that you
like
can?
an audio went. Wow, people said no sound. I don't know what the hell happened.
It's back on.
It's back on.
Okay, just keep your eye on the comments then.
Yes, I'm gonna keep my eyes on. Wow, I'm sorry. About 3-4 minutes. So you talked about, what did you talk about?
Oh, I cannot recreate that, Miki. It was so brilliant.
It's so brilliant and it's gone.
Okay, I was talking about sound. I was talking about George shearing.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's even before that, because I thought people were talking about the sound because I mentioned about the sound.
It's gone.
And it's gone. We talked about the harmony. Oh, the story. The Paul Bley story is maybe gone.
Did you guys hear the Paul Bley story?
Did you guys hear the Paul Bley story that he talked about? After Paul Bley.
Okay, it was
He
just
went
after
after
talking about
Jim Hall. Okay. What did Jim Hall do? Jim Hall. Maybe Jim Hall. John Hendricks and Jim Hall just did something.
Yeah.
Shh.
Okay, so Jim Hall.
Yes.
John Hendricks.
Wow, that's so crazy. I'm sorry.
Let's just keep going.
This never happened. I mean, it's a piece of crap. But
No, I love Radio Shack. What do we got?
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. Okay, just like let's forget that it didn't ever
Yeah, I
happen.
didn't say shit.
No. People said the Paul Bley story was awesome.
So I had my third nipple removed.
Third nipple from about you? Is that close to an armpit?
Okay.
Yeah, that's very funny. Too bad.
See,
Was there
we're
any
unhinged.
questions? Yeah, very unhinged. Okay.
All right.
Can you tell me anything unhinged?
Unhinged? I don't even know what you mean by that.
It's just like really like, you know.
I can't get too controversial here.
Wow, that's right.
I will say that okay, let's just go back to George shearing.
Okay, George shearing.
What he did, what I was hearing on these solo piano records, apart from the incredible harmonic ideas, and I stole a lot of concepts from him, from his solo piano records. If you're not familiar with George shearing as a solo pianist, and you want to learn more about reharmonization and sound, check out any of them on Concord, My Ship. I'm trying to remember the titles, but a lot of them are on Concord records.
Okay.
But what he had this bell-like tone. You know, to me, it always felt like when he was playing a melody and harmonizing below it, it was that pinky with the melody.
Yes.
That just had this beautiful round tone. And I always thought, I just thought that's it. That's what you do. You have to bring that out, and you know.
Pinky very has to be strong.
And I don't have a strong pinky, but maybe just thinking that way made it stronger. I don't know, but it just made in classical when they say how you voice a chord, it's different when jazz musicians say voicing. Voicing meaning, what are you bringing out?
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah, how are you bringing out, like different pianists when they play, say Bach, they're bringing out.
Right, like the tenor out.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
So, or like a chord, when somebody plays a chord, is everything coming out strong, and are you bringing certain things out of the chord that are making it ring in a different way? So, and you hear that in all the great classical pianists. But sound is really, really important on any instrument. If Ben Webster didn't have the great, incredible sound he had,
everybody wanted to copy him after, because he wanted to copy singers, right?
Yeah, I think if you have a great sound, you can play less and less and less. You can play fewer and fewer notes.
Right.
Jim Hall is a great example.
Eddie Harris.
Any of those great pianists we were talking about, Nat Cole, Teddy Wilson.
Teddy Wilson.
Simple ideas
Ooh,
sound
tasty.
just great when you have a great sound, and you needn't really overplay when you have a great sound.
Right.
And so I'm very much, or and even better than that is if you have an identifiable sound, which is
Monk.
even more rare, but Monk or some more contemporary like John Schofield. I know it's Schofield.
Oh.
Jim Hall, Bill
Right.
Stewart on the cymbal. I know it's him, and I think Peter Bernstein. It's just really important.
Very noticeable.
And unless you mean sound as in terms of like your own sound, like you have your own sound, that's a different kind of sound. I'm someone who's still trying to figure that out, particularly on the piano, how to sound like me,
But nobody else sounds like you on an organ, though, at least.
I don't know if that's true, but I did.
Dude, I know.
Well, pretty early on the organ, I knew that I wasn't going to be Jimmy Smith, and that I didn't know how to do that. No, you shouldn't be.
You are who you are. No?
I went through a Larry Young phase for sure, and I still draw. I still do things that are Larry Youngish. But because I started as a pianist first, and I didn't want to abandon like the kinds of songs I was playing on piano, I think that has something to do with having something of my own sound at the organ, because it wasn't like I went to the organ, I'm like, okay, it's just going to be B-flat blues from here on. I still wanted to play beautiful tunes,
definitely.
with nice harmonies, and I still wanted to try to free up from that the typical organ tradition.
Right.
And I had two players that were also not interested in just being following a tradition, an organ trio tradition.
Right.
So that's important too, that you have people with open minds. And,
right.
But working on your actual sound on your instrument, I think, is really important. However, I'm very self-conscious about the fact that I didn't learn a Russian technique, that I don't play with the gravity, the weight of, a lot of the great classical
pianists. Do you
pianists.
think about that? Really, still?
I do. I don't think I have that sound. I don't have that.
Do you need that sound?
I would like it.
Do you want that?
Okay. I do want it.
So then yes.
And I keep thinking I'm going to go back to a teacher and figure that out.
Cool.
And I think, and also because I think, as we were talking about yesterday, I struggle with bigger pianos, because I think it does require a greater sense of playing with the weight and the gravity of your upper body. And I don't think that that's how I produce a sound. I think I'm more of a finger player.
Do you think that organ playing affected that to you?
Probably.
Because organ is very finger to me.
It is.
That's why sometimes I find it hard to play keyboard instruments.
Yeah, it's very much about the fingers.
Yeah.
I think so. It's why I'm more neurotic as a piano player than I am as an organ player.
I understood.
Because I think I'm less consistent on the piano, because it really depends on the piano.
But organ is also less available, less instruments available.
Oh yeah.
Meaning, if you go on a road, you have to deal with the chances dealing with shittier piano versus dealing with shittier organ. I feel like you would experience shit organ more often.
You do, because there's some
just not available. You
Yeah.
know? Depending on what kind of cities you are going to.
Yeah, I've played a lot of shitty instruments.
But you feel like you do know more to handle shit organ?
Well, even on a shitty organ, you're still not dealing with the problem of sound production.
Right, because it's
you hit a note and it's there for you.
It's there for you, yeah.
Unless it's not, because actually
that's
plenty of organs
just doesn't come out like how.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and there's loads of things that contribute to having a bad organ experience. The acoustics in a room, or the bass is just not strong enough. You never feel it, so
bottom.
And you'd think that I'd I'm sure you've had you feel the same way. Like you've traveled a lot, you've played a lot of pianos over the years, and in some ways it gets easier because you expect that there's gonna be a challenge, but in other ways it's like if you get like 3 in a row on a tour, like shit organs that are really causing you to struggle, oh boy, you can get dark. You know, that's when I start thinking about, why am I doing this? Give me a good instrument. I envy Peter. You know, he's got his own instrument. Of course, he'll complain about his amps, and that, rightly so, because an amp is half your sound.
Yeah, that's
and I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm like thinking, yeah, but you travel with your instrument.
Yes.
You know?
At least like the way it feels is somewhat consistent.
You only got one gig to get used to this new instrument, so that's just part of show business.
Part of the show business to deal with shit instrument. But I feel like when we talked about the big piano thing, like sometimes if I do like a bigger production tour, I did some last year, and then it's like bigger concert hall, meaning bigger piano. They just have bigger piano, and it's like 7-foot Steinway or whatever shit, and it's just like I never play instruments like that. Never play instruments like that. Like I'm used to those baby grands, you know, like a baby grand, I shine. You know? I
feel the same way.
You know what I'm saying?
I made a record on an upright, and it's some of my
upright is great.
I really like my playing on the. It's rare for me to say that I like my playing. And
which one?
It's called Music from the Front Room.
Wow.
You never heard that?
No. Which one? Which one is the? So like the. I like
you need to prepare for these interviews, Miki.
I like In My Room. You play
In My Room.
And so you did some of the, like the muff thing on the, you know, like you do have an interlude type of thing.
Oh yeah, right.
You know what I'm talking
Where
about?
I put duct tape on the strings.
Right, but wasn't that an upright though?
No. No, there were some tunes on an upright.
Right.
On that record.
I just assumed that it was upright because look, it just sounded like you put something in between of the hot hammer and a tank.
There are some songs with that piano. There are 3 pianos on that record. One was the one that I used to have in my house, which now we've donated since to a school. Oh. And the other one was at on somebody's piano. Well, I was looking for me and my friend Richard Goodman, who produced and recorded that record. We were just looking for interesting pianos, and he's like, "Oh, my friend has this piano," and like. They were like, yeah, you want to, and my friend Richard had a mobile unit, so we just brought it to different
that's
locations.
Fun. Yeah, that's cool.
But if I were to make another solo piano record, I probably would not play a 9-foot piano. Yeah. Because it's just not me.
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I totally dig that, honestly.
I mean, I'm gonna sound better on a smaller piano, unless somehow it was. You know, even if the action is light, you're dealing with a much longer string.
I feel like the jazz piano, like at least for my thinking, the New York jazz pianists like Hank Jones and Tommy Flanagan used to do the Knickerbocker bar gig or whatever. Like they used to play, like they used to dress up suit, and they might not be on the road, and they might be doing those New York bar gigs. You know, they'd be playing their butts off, shedding like different keys of tunes or arrangements with the bass player or whatever, and those pianos are never big, you know.
No, but I've heard those guys on big pianos, and you know. But maybe if it was a ballads record where I didn't have to play anything fast, you know, I'd enjoy a really nice, juicy 9-foot.
But even like when I recorded it at the Rudy Van Gilder, like they have 2 pianos,
right? And
one is like newer piano, which is bigger, and then I chose the smaller ones, which was recorded for some of the Rudy's recordings itself, and it's smaller and it's like warmer, funkier, but definitely less clean. Some piano players prefer this crystal clean sound, and I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. So just like sometimes like I feel like, oh, they must have recorded those like old recordings. Like I just think like, oh, they must have recorded it with a smaller piano, not like a 7-foot piano. I just didn't. I wonder. I don't really picture it for some reason. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, Rudy did get kind of a boxy sound that made those pianos sound a little thinner and smaller in a way. Don't you think?
Wait, what?
Rudy
Thin?
Van Gelder.
Made it
The way
thin?
that he recorded
The
those
piano.
pianos kind of took away some of the bigness.
Yeah, it's a
And in a way that
specific sound.
sounds
though.
really cool. And,
Yeah.
But it is hard to tell.
That might be the reason why I think that the piano must be small.
Yeah.
I always thought that those pianos cannot be big.
Yeah.
It just sounds like it's not coming from those big ass pianos
Right.
to me. Maybe because if you were recording in one room
Yeah.
as a trio, if you had a super big ass long piano,
Yeah.
you are much further away
Well, that's true too.
from
Unless
the
you set up
musicians.
Oscar Peterson style.
Yes, so
which
I
I'm
learned-
doing this week with John Pizzarelli, which is interesting.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Which
come
means
see you
the
tonight.
piano
Yeah.
is on stage left.
Which is stage left?
That's if you're on the stage.
Okay, so the stage left is like the
Right.
audience right.
I think so.
Cool. Okay.
So Oscar, what he did is he pushed the piano
So like he's
so that
closer
his-
to the bass player.
so the bass player can be behind him.
yes.
And you don't have the distance of the piano separating you from the other musicians. It means that your back is to the rest of the band.
Yeah.
But it brings all the bodies closer.
Much closer.
Yeah.
I did that for that little tour that I did in the West Coast, and then I realized that I played in a big piano company. The day before that, I was gonna try Oscar Peterson trio because I was like, I've never played in this hall, so like I've never tried it, so I was like, I shouldn't try it at this place. And I already told them the stage plot and everything, so I was like, I can't really change it anymore. But as soon as I got there, the piano is humongous. I was like, I regret it so hard. This is the gig that I should have done Oscar Peterson set up. So when I get to play at Ravenscroft again in Arizona, I'll do Oscar Peterson setup. Yes.
Yeah. Could be
I'm learning a lot.
It's not for everyone, but I
Yeah.
kind of dig it. Yeah.
You are you getting used to it?
Yeah, I like it because you are just John can just hey, do you know and there's no drummer on this particular gig I'm doing, and so Mike Karn is right there, just
That cool.
big sound.
Awesome. Well,
What
okay.
else?
Someone said he loves your version of "You're Looking at Me" on organ.
That was my second record. Yeah.
I like the "You're Looking at Me." You're looking at me. Oh, that's not "You're Looking at Me." I'm thinking of a different tune. Cole Porter. It's probably Cole Porter.
But thank you for that. Yes.
You do something to me. Sorry.
That was my second. Oh,
that's on the piano. So I'll say.
which one?
You do something to me.
Oh yeah, I did that
The
on the awareness record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, You're Looking at Me, Nat King Cole did as a ballad. Yeah.
That's
a great tune.
Yes. I love that tune. I play it.
Yeah.
I like learning tunes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, great. Oh, one more question I prepared. I asked about. Oh, you mentioned about remind you about the Roland Hannah thing. You said you want to talk about this, and it's an interesting story. So please share with us.
It was just one of those really lucky experiences. I was at the new school. I think I was a sophomore.
So
Sir Roland was there.
19?
So it was 1987. And Roland Hannah comes up to me one day and after class says, "Oh, Larry."
you were like a private teacher?
No, he
or-
wasn't.
Okay,
He was my ensemble teacher.
cool.
I don't think I ever took a private lesson with him, although he did tell me that I should learn the Chopin etudes, which I never did.
Which
Sorry,
ones?
Roland.
Which
just all of them.
Just
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Chopin would be one of those composers, by the way, that
I used to be obsessed.
I mean, how can you not?
Japanese people love Chopin.
Well, sure, for the melodies are incredible, but the harmonies, oh my god.
It's pretty jazz.
And the modulations and the ridiculous. But anyway, Roland said, "Hey, for the past several years I've been getting invited to this international jazz party in The Hague in Holland, and I was thinking of asking them if I could bring you as a up and comer, and
so crazy.
a lot of good people will be there. Tommy Flanagan and Hank Jones, and I'm like, okay, yeah, thanks, man. And I said I'm honored, and what it was is this couple that threw this big 3-day thing in this hotel, and every day was just different sets of music. I mean, I'm trying to remember all of this: Harry Sweets Edison, Al Cohn, James Moody. Kenny Washington was turning 30. I remember that.
Wow.
Jeff Hamilton, who they told at the last minute, "Oh, we've run out of rooms, so this kid's gonna room with you." So I roomed with Jeff Hamilton.
You did?
And Sarah Vaughan was the special mystery guest, and
Yeah.
so that I had one day I had a set with Ray Drummond and I think Alvin Queen, and then
Wow, Alvin Queen.
another day I was
Great
in
drummer.
a group with Sweets Edison, Al Cohn.
Wow, that's already
Maybe it was
crazy.
Kenny Washington, and I don't remember who the bass player was on that. None of it's. I've been searching YouTube. I don't know where any of that is, if anywhere.
Wow.
It was way before.
Do you know people recorded it
I have
or
no idea.
no bootlegs or anything?
I'd have to really make an effort to hunt that down. I don't know.
Wow.
But the thing that really was wild was one night at the bar in the hotel. You know, Roland maybe told me like, yeah, everybody's gonna be hanging out at this bar. And
Yeah.
there was this Dutch cocktail piano player playing, and I'm looking around. Oh, by the way, my father came with me. My father and his mother, my grandmother,
Oh.
we all went
Oh,
to
that's
this
cute.
thing.
Like, yeah, why not?
Yeah. But they weren't with me when I was at this bar. But I went to the bar, and I'm sitting around, and there's Kenny Burrell, and there's Tommy Flanagan, and there's Sarah Vaughan, and there's Roland Hannah.
That's so crazy.
And I see Roland's enjoying himself. You know, he's
Yeah.
had a couple drinks, and he goes up to this piano player, and he goes, "Do you know Memories of You?" And it's I don't think so. And he goes, "Larry, you know Memories of You." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you know." He's like, "Come." And
That's Roland.
Roland, I was like, "Roland, I don't, you know." And I get up, so the piano player's like, "Please." So I ended up playing for half an hour, and I'm looking around, and every once in a while I see Tommy Flanagan, you know, and
That's so crazy.
I'm like, all these things are going through my
Oh
head,
my
like what
God.
the, you know, I didn't want to look, you know,
That's frightening.
but just to see like a couple little nods of approval from Tommy Flanagan, and you know, I mean, when I left when I came home, man, I just my confidence level
Went
was
up.
just like so, you know, it was different. It was like I
Wow.
stepped through, as James Taylor sometimes says when he talks about, you know, when he met, when he got signed by Paul McCartney, you know, he stepped through a doorway and then everything was different, you know.
Wow.
I really felt like, because of the acceptance that I felt from Roland and playing in front of these people and nobody wanted to hurt me, I was like, okay, maybe I can do this, you know.
Wow.
So that was you know,
That's
and,
so
and
cool.
thank you, Roland Hannah. I mean, for
Yeah.
giving me that opportunity.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking. Oh, this guy.
I don't want to
from,
forget Fred Hirsch. You know, I don't want to
Fred?
not mention like the other teachers I had. Fred Hirsch, who was my cousin.
Did you know that back then?
No, I didn't know it before I moved to New York. Yeah.
Wait. Okay. Fred taught you when you were in Boston?
No,
Or?
later when I was at the.
So then you moved to New York, and did you know then that a Fred is
Right before I moved to New York, my mother's mother.
Grandma.
That's the side that Fred is on. Said to me on the phone, "You know, Larry, there's a famous jazz pianist who's in New York who's your cousin." I'm like, "Okay, Grandma, I'll look him up." You know, like, what does she know? And
Yeah. Who is he?
and turned out it was
Fred Hirsch.
Fred Hirsch.
Yeah.
So
Incredible.
I got to I realized that Fred Hirsch was a great jazz pianist, and he was my third cousin, and
Okay.
I eventually studied with him, and those were great lessons.
Oh.
And more recently, I got to play I played a duet concert with him in somewhere in California. I can't remember now. But very influential person as well on me. His lessons a lot about solo piano and about sound.
Yeah.
And
Trying to make it closer.
Yeah.
People said it's quiet.
oh, okay, yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Jackie Byard, those were fantastic too. What a
Jackie Byard. I wish I could have seen him play.
Yeah.
I really think
Yeah.
that would have changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, just by listening to like a Paul Blart, Jackie Byard.
Mm-hmm.
Really like.
Well, Jackie was another in terms of his outlook. You know, like on the one hand, he could play stride and sound pretty much just like Fats Waller.
Exactly.
Then you see you see or hear, you can see a lot of video, great video of him with Mingus in the avant-garde, you know, and
I mean, he does it both in one fucking tune.
right, he straddles the history of music without being corny
No.
and contrived. It was just him. It was the way that he filtered all these influences.
I think the rootedness.
Yeah, and at the
Really
root of
comes
it
out.
was his touch and his feel and his swing, his knowledge of history, and that he could just sort of like let that go and just be free in another context. That to me, in a way, it's sort of a role model. Like I love the fusion of past and present. You know,
Woo.
I love like hearing Duke Ellington with Coltrane and his rhythm section. You know, like on
I
that
like
record.
that record a lot.
Just that sort of tension that exists between some of the older players who have always been forward thinking.
Yeah.
You ever heard that Earl Hines record with Elvin and
No.
there's
What?
Earl Hines with Elvin and
Wow. I'm
Richard
gonna look it up.
Davis.
Yeah.
That's worth checking out.
Okay.
Or something like Duke Ellington with Mingus and Max Roach. It's just a fascinating, you know, meeting of
Earl Hines
generations.
with Elvin?
Yeah.
Once upon a time.
Maybe.
Earl Hines.
And Earl Hines was pretty kooky, man. He's kind of out there, you know. Actually, there's a Rand Blake two piano record with Earl Hines.
Wait, what?
I think. Oh no, or is it Jackie Byard? There's a record with Jackie Byard and Earl Hines as well, I think.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Maybe this is not it. Oh, but it says Elvin is on this record.
Miki,
I'll check it
Miki, we're
Oh, yeah, it says
We're
hi.
live, we're live.
Hi, yeah, we're live, yes. I'm checking.
let's just look at our phones for the next 20 minutes.
Yes. Someone goes, oh, hi, Matteo. How are you? Yeah, he's a great guitar player from Italy.
Mm.
He says, have you talked about Larry on Brecker's record?
Brecker's record.
Yes.
Time is of the essence. Mm-hmm.
I can sing everything on that record.
Really?
Yeah, love that record.
Wow.
Dude.
Yeah, that was a great experience. Incredible experience.
3 different drummers.
Yep. Elvin,
Tang.
Jeff Watts,
Yeah.
and Bill.
And Bill, yeah.
Yeah. That was amazing. Being a bass player for Elvin Jones was life-changing, for sure.
So cool.
The tunes were challenging, and Matheny. It was all a dream. I was extremely intimidated by the idea of playing with Elvin, but as soon as I came into the studio and Elvin was there to greet Elvin, so I was introduced to Elvin and he picked me up.
He did?
And off the floor,
Oh.
which I think is something that he would do with people.
Wow.
And immediately shattered any kind of nervous, in a way. When we started sound checking, I was freaking out in my mind. Like, how am I gonna know if we start trading, or if he comes in with 8 bars up front?
Yeah.
I'm the bass player now. I can't be wrong, you know. So.
Did you rehearse?
No, not with Elvin. No, we just. I rehearsed. I got together with Michael with the music, I think.
Okay. What, Matheny there for that rehearsal too, or?
I don't remember. But at first I had a bad mix, and I was really struggling. There's at least one take where it fell apart, maybe due to me. And then James Farber came out and listened to my mix, and you know, he said like the snare comping was like louder than anything else.
Right.
So he fixed Elvin's mix in my phones, and then I just said, just relax, you know. And I realized that Elvin is not trying to mess with you. You know, he's there for you. He's listening to you as well.
Right,
you
right,
know?
right.
So, yeah, there's a D minor blues on there where really I felt like I could do no wrong in a way.
Yeah.
Because that's how much he was lifting me, you know. I remember feeling that way also with playing with Grady Tate one week, where I thought, I don't have to think about how to comp. He's somehow giving it to me. Like,
You were on organ too.
no,
right?
I was on piano.
Oh, with Grady Tate?
And I remember it was one of the first times I just felt like it was effortless to comp in terms of rhythmic ideas.
Yeah.
Somehow Grady was just allowing me to
Yeah.
always sound good, you know.
That kind of drumming.
Yeah. But that was a great experience. And of course, we toured with a version of that band.
Okay.
First Matheny and Bill, and then later Adam Rogers.
Someone said he was at one of those record gigs,
Mhm.
and Idris Mohammed
Idris. It was either
Was it?
Idris, Clarence
in
Penn.
London. He lives.
Yeah, there's a good recording
Yeah,
of that too that a lot of people have heard. Idris.
Is it like a bootleg or it's actually out?
It's
like as a
no, it's a
record?
bootleg, but it's a good sounding bootleg.
I want.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube, I think.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently so. YouTube has everything.
Yeah, so it was wonderful. Michael Brecker was brilliant,
Brecker.
and another person in my life who really believed in me and made me feel really good. Made me feel like I belonged playing with him. He was always very supportive with players, younger players.
I have to do some research.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'll do some research. Okay. Cool.
That was like in 2000, 2001 is right when my daughter was born.
You want to talk about Anna's music?
Yes, everybody,
it's
please
coming
check
out,
out
right?
Anna Goldings. She's a wonderful original singer-songwriter. She's got a few things out you can find, and there's something coming out March 14th.
It's my birthday.
Oh,
Hey.
her birthday's coming right up. Her song Wonder is coming out. It's so great.
I even have a song called Wonder.
Yeah,
Nobody
and
can
she's
hear me, but-
awesome. My son is also a very good musician, and yeah. So there you go.
Yes.
My wife is a very good musician.
Yeah.
Well, not professionally, but so it's music is yeah.
Music in the Goldings family.
Yeah, a lot of music.
In it. That's beautiful. Yes. Someone says lovely. Anna's voice is lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, beautiful. Check out Anna Golding's new single or
Wonder.
record
Mm-hmm.
coming out
Yeah,
on my birthday.
on your
My
birthday.
March 14th. It's Einstein's birthday, Quincy Jones' birthday,
Really?
Steph Curry's birthday, and Miki Yamanaka's birthday.
Wow. You and Einstein, huh?
Yeah. I think Justin Bieber too. Weird list of people.
Wow.
Your birthday's in August, right?
August 28th.
August 28th, yes. 828.
Yeah, right between Bird and Perez.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your music? You said your new record just came out? No, it's about to come out.
Yeah, I'm made a piano record for the first time in a while. It's called I Will. We play the Paul McCartney song I Will on there. And that's with my LA-based trio. Great bass player named Carl McComas Reichel and drummer Christian Newman, who you may know from Jacob Collier's live gigs. And he's a great straight-ahead drummer. He can play any kind of style, it seems. And so that was recorded for the Sam First live record label, which is a club in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find that. The vinyl is only 40 minutes of music, but eventually it'll be I think in May it fully comes out digitally with more tracks. And right now you can get it on this high-res digital platform called Quoba or something.
What?
Quoba. I can't remember.
Oh, I have no idea. I've never heard of
Yeah.
that.
Anyway, you won't find this information on my website because I think it's down right now.
Your website is down?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something.
Oh, shit.
Something's going on.
Something's wrong.
But if you go to my Instagram, you can find out. I have 2 other projects sort of coinciding. The record I made with the great tap dancer Melinda Sullivan.
That was in the downbeat thing.
Yeah. Which
4
is
stars.
very different from anything I've ever done. It's got
sound
a lot
great.
of synthesizers, and it's electronic and tap and sonically interesting, and a lot of analog keyboards. And then about a year ago, we put out a record with my old friend John Snyder, trumpet player, duet record called.
Is it out?
Yeah, called
didn't know.
called Chinwag.
Right.
And that's really nice.
Yeah, I heard a couple tracks because John sent it to me.
Oh, cool.
When I did a record with him. Not record, like a gig with him. He was like, "Oh, check this tune out." It's like, whoa. Yeah.
And we just went into the studio with the Scary Goldings project with a new rhythm section and all new tunes. I'm really psyched about this one. It's our 5th record. And
already 5th record?
Yeah.
Scary Goldings?
Mhm.
Oh, that's kind of quick, honestly. Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
So many projects.
Yep.
But you were gonna start? You took a little time off from the Bill and Peter's trio.
Yeah.
But it's coming back, right?
Yeah, well, not until October, but we're going to do a good solid U.S. tour in October.
Cool. Are you excited?
And maybe a record right after that.
Whoa. When was the last
record was Perpetual Pendulum, which came out like
that's
3 years ago or something.
No, it has to be longer than that.
5 years ago.
Yeah. Was it after COVID? I feel like it was before COVID. I'm like
no, it was,
tripping.
I think
it was after
COVID.
Okay. Excuse me.
So we're gonna make another one. We were actually thinking about the music of Wayne Shorter.
Oh, that's cool because you guys already play a lot of handful.
Play a few of them, yeah, but we've never made like a concept record like that.
Oh,
so
that's
we
cool.
might do that.
I feel like I want to hear you guys play like a songbook things. Wayne Shorter music of Wayne Shorter music of like very different, like George Gershwin or
I'd be down. I like
that kind of shit, like very different.
Yeah.
Wayne and like a songbook writers will be very different, like maybe some arrangements or whatever.
I like those kinds of records.
Someone asks, what do you think about Terry Lynn Carrington's last 6 album? I don't know anything about it, so I just went to see her last night, and it was really great.
I heard one that she got a Grammy for. I think she got the Grammy a few years ago, and what I heard I loved. She's an excellent musician, but I can't really say I know those records.
Yeah, I mean I don't know any of the records, but last night I went to see Terry Lynn's band. And she did a reimagined for the We Insist, Max Roach and Abby Lincoln record, which I know really a lot because I had to play a different show of the We Insist reimagined with the tap dancer Michaela Marino-Lerman with Jeff Dane Watts and Sharnae Wade on vocal. It was an incredible experience for me, but Tara's version is completely different, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's like
she's great.
Dancer. At Smoke Jazz Club, there was a dancer. I was like, what the fuck? Smoke is like the most, traditional straight ahead club. And like, I was very amazed and I enjoyed it. Spoken words.
Yeah, I like
stuff,
how she's presenting music in a very creative way.
Yeah, it's really cool, I think. And she's really pushing a lot of female artists. Like she has an institute for that.
Yeah.
Berkeley and stuff. So, yeah, kudos to her. I've never met her, but I got to meet her last night, and she was very sweet. Yeah, cool. That's cool. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about her music.
I'm pretty guilty about knowing what's going on with my contemporaries sometimes. I don't.
Similar age?
I don't stay on top of new records as much as I should.
No, yeah.
Again, because there's so many records, and I don't know where to start. But I should. There are people that I love. Like Kurt Rosenwinkel, I'm always curious about what he's doing, and yet I can't. I'm behind.
Kurt, yeah.
I'm behind knowing what's going on with some of my
Kurt's doing the
contemporaries.
old record reunion thing, you know? The Next Step.
Mm.
He had a record called
Oh,
Next Step. And
with Mark Turner and
yeah,
Jeff
Mark
Ballard.
and Jeff Ballard. And was that with Ben Street, I think?
Yeah, that's the exact
Oh.
band that I played every Thursday with for at least a month at Smalls in the 90s.
So, you plus those four?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep.
So, like, you said it's small, so, like, the recording's there?
Oh, I don't know. No, this was before they were
Before
recording.
that time? Wow.
This guy I didn't really know, Kurt Rosenwinkel, calls me up. I was living in Chelsea.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I didn't really know anything about him. He said, hey, would you be available every Thursday in May or whatever it was? I was like, yeah, I think so.
When was this?
Yeah. Mid-90s.
Dude, that's crazy.
And I said, great. And then he goes, okay, great. The rehearsals are going to be the 7th, the 9th, the 10th, the
Every
15th.
week?
You know, and I'm like, what? And initially I was just like, oh, God, what am I getting into? All these rehearsals?
Uh-huh.
So I went to Brooklyn and for the first rehearsal and met these guys, some of which I didn't know, maybe. I don't think I knew Mark that well. And Kurt's music was all written out, you know.
Yeah,
all the piano
he's-
parts
yeah.
were specific voicings.
He's
And
a bad motherfucker
instantly
on
I
the
was
piano,
like, oh, God, I'm not going to be the right person for this because I'm not a quick reader. And then the music was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I think he's an incredible writer.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to need these rehearsals, and I love the music. So he sold me, and so it was like going to Kurt Rosenwinkel school.
Wow.
And we played all these gigs at
That's
Smalls.
crazy.
I remember it was Thursdays.
That's awesome. I didn't even have the connection between you and these crew, you know? It's like, even though similar
Yeah.
age or whatever, I don't really see you guys in the same even circle.
Well, that's why I asked Kurt to be,
necessarily.
you know, he's on one of my organ record, on half of Big Stuff.
Really?
Organ record I made.
Yeah.
Half of it, or maybe, I don't know if it's exactly half, but some of it's with Peter and Bill, and some of it's with Idris
And
and Kurt.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't check that one out so well, but
Shame on
I've
you.
definitely heard it before, so
Mhm.
I am ashamed. that I
Yeah, it
didn't
looks like you got
realize.
some catching up to do, Miki Yamanaka.
That's right. Wow, that's crazy. Or do you have to go to the bathroom or anything? Are you good? Do you want more tea?
What are you, my mommy?
Yes, I'm Mamanaka,
No.
you know?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, you're fine. Okay, great. I would like to go a little bit more. Trying to see. Tour in France with Peter and Bill, someone asks.
I don't know. I haven't booked anything for the...
Yeah, you don't really want to go to Europe, do you? Like, it's kind of hard, no? The situation is not that easy, even to those guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
My whole outlook about touring is unfortunately a little bit confusing right now. The traveling is just a drag. I've been doing it since I was 18.
Yeah, you started so
And
early.
the logistics of jazz travel is, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm nearly as cut out for it as I used to be. So that's basically why I've slowed down.
The trio
in that way.
project, yeah?
Yeah. And let's face it, you get a taste of this high-end travel that one does with pop artists
Right.
that I've been doing for 24 years.
That long, James Taylor?
Well, I joined him in 2001, I think.
Wow.
2002. So, that you do get a taste of what it feels like to be treated, you know, in a different way as a musician, you
Right.
know, business class and nice
Ooh,
hotels.
business class.
And let's face it is harder to go back to.
Economy?
Yeah, meanwhile you're getting older and older.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And but of course you get to the gig, and if you're traveling, if you're lucky enough to be in situations that you want to be, you know, usually you're reminded that, well, this is why I'm here. I'm here because I'm listen to these. I'm improvising with these incredible musicians. Nevertheless, I have a harder time with the idea of schlepping around Europe,
Yeah.
schlepping around the world. It's just, I don't know, it's harder.
It's so much work. I mean, I've never done it, so like I did it last year for my first time, and I was like, oh shit, I will never repeat this thing, and I will do
Yeah.
this thing again. This route was cool. This route was completely a mistake, even though it kind of looked close. Whatever, you know.
Yes, and I'm not. I don't have to
Learning.
rely on constant travel financially.
Mhm.
So my wife works, and I have a chunk
She's
of.
the rice winner.
She is to a degree she is, and to a large degree sometimes, and I can fall back. I know that I'm gonna have a good chunk with James Taylor.
Are you still doing tours with him?
Yeah, we're going out in the end of April.
Oh shit, yeah.
For-
Where are you going?
States.
During this? Oh,
Yeah.
within the states.
Yep.
Okay.
And that gig, I still really like it. I love James Taylor. I grew up with his music. It's always a great band. Sure, creatively, it's not what I can do with my own groups, and you're in service of these songs and this artist, but it's not just anybody, you know. It's somebody who's really, really strong, and
Yes.
I also
went
really-
to one of the concerts. It was
and
beautiful.
so I have that, and it does allow me to be, if I want to, it allows me to be a little bit more choosy about when I go out with the jazz stuff.
Cool.
So it's weird. I'm you know, but I miss it. I even you know, when I don't do it for a while, I am missing it because I'm
The
just
creative
I'm
part,
missing playing and but I, you know, the thought of getting on a plane and you know, just more and more just gives me anxiety. So
Yeah,
you know.
it's very understandable.
And yet, it's live music is the one thing that is not going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. I don't
Yes.
think.
Not
It's
there
still,
yet.
it's still the one place that you can have an experience, you know, and always has the potential of being this very, very great thing. You know, the communication with an audience, there's nothing like it.
Right.
And all these frustrations that we talked about, like shitty pianos and shitty organs,
Right.
that can also get you to really stretch yourself creatively.
Yeah.
You know, anytime you're thrown limitations,
I like them.
I like
the
them
challenge.
too. I love limitations.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not that I don't love to play anymore. I just don't like getting there.
Yeah, like we talked about this before we started going live. Like someone asked you a question like, do you think
Oh, yeah.
that it's a work? You know?
Oh yeah, this guy said, does it feel like work when you're playing music? I was like, the work is getting to the job.
Yeah,
you
Larry coming to New York City is still part of the work part.
Yeah.
You know.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, New York is not bad. I'm glad you're in town.
Yeah.
You know, whenever Larry comes back to New York, he always hits me up. I'm gonna be in town, Miki. Like, are you
Yeah.
around? It's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tear it up.
Tear it up. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna go see you later tonight.
Oh
what
yeah.
time is the second set? Like, it's a
at
late one, right?
10:40.
10:40.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. 10:30. Supposedly, or 11.
Yeah, if you get there for 10:30,
10:30 is good.
you'll get a better seat maybe.
Yeah.
Although the second sets have been slower than the first set. So, playing this week with John Pizzarelli and Michael Karn at Birdland. If you're in New York,
Right. Yeah.
John's an old friend of mine. Done a lot of things with him over the years, and his wife Jessica Lasky. We went to first time we went to Brazil was with John. Which
Oh,
was
is that right?
super fun.
Wow.
There was a famous club, downstairs club. It's no longer there in Rio called Mistura Fina. That was like the vanguard of, you know.
It's like it was the place to play
it
in
was the
Brazil.
place
Yeah.
to play.
Wow.
Played there. We went all over the place. We got a tour all on the Amazon River. It's unbelievable. I held a sloth, which was disgusting. And
But if I could see you were younger, you were like, yeah, why not?
well, this little boy gave it to me. We stopped on the Amazon at this hut where this family was selling like little tchotchkes, and these naked kids were running around, and this kid comes to me with what I thought was a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's
oh,
okay.
thank you. And I'm like, that's an awful bony stuffed animal. And sloth, they have the slowest metabolism of any animal,
Yeah.
and the thing was just sitting, and then it went. I'm like, ah.
That's
and,
great.
But I held this sloth over here. I'm going to see me just do that.
That's kind of funny.
So that's the sloth
Like
story.
2 seconds later, yeah.
And now I'm a sloth.
Oh, someone asks, did you play with James Taylor on NBC Today show back in 2001?
Very possibly.
Very possible.
That was right when I
Started?
recorded on his record.
The one that you were telling me about?
If we played like Christmas music, I think that was me.
Okay.
Could have been me.
If it was Christmas music.
That was right when I did the record October Road to play this song Mean Old Man. And Russ Titleman, who was at the club last night.
Oh, that guy that you were talking about.
Yeah,
that's
Russ
cool.
was the one who was producing that record, and he asked James, like, I know you have your crew, but could I bring this guy in for this one tune that you've written because it's really jazzy and
Jazzy.
so I came in, met James at that session, and we did 2 takes of that tune, and he gave me a solo. I think it was the only solo on the record, and then soon after that he asked me to join the band. That's how that happened.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow, that's amazing. I love that. Like, do you feel like it was really great that you started working with James Taylor, like pop artists? You did like John Mayer and shit too.
Did that as well briefly.
Yeah.
Yes, I it's changed my trajectory in different ways. It's opened some interesting doors to other experiences, other maybe certain producers or who bring me into recording projects, or and got me to know a whole new crew of musicians, and gotten to know Steve Gadd really well over the years because
That's
of
so
that.
cool,
And
yeah.
who
Does he still do James Taylor gigs? Or?
yeah.
Sometimes, right? Like I know, like he was kind of like
Sometimes he
on and
doesn't.
off. Yeah.
But I also just James as a person is so uniquely inspiring. He's a very, very thoughtful, unique person with a fascinating brain, and I like to see how he navigates situations. He's fascinating, and he's got really, really interesting views on the world, and his relationship to his fans is extremely genuine and respectful, and kind of makes you remember that it's not just about you, and that communicating to an audience is everything, no, it's been a great, and it has helped certain musical skills. I mean, like, you have to reserve a lot of things to sound appropriate in that situation. And you have to, not to mention if there's little opportunities to sound like yourself within that framework.
Right.
That's a challenge within itself. Also, just the idea of like playing the same repertoire, same arrangement every night.
Yeah.
Is sort of like what chamber music people do. It's like, and how do you make that feel fresh?
Does James allow you to stretch even with outside of that, like a whatever 4 bars of your solo or whatever, like would he allow you to comp a little bit different each night, or more like a you have to play in a certain?
Generally, no.
Generally,
It's really about the very small differences that,
Okay.
Night to night. And then certain songs are very arranged because that part is
part of the tune.
part of the song.
Right.
You know.
Right.
There are looser moments when you can interpret a little bit more, but it really becomes about your feel, about your taste,
Yes.
about your sense of whether you're listening to whether you have to understand your role. You know, this is about the song.
Right.
The reason why you shouldn't go nuts here is because it's not about you.
Yeah.
You know, it's about the lyric. It's about the sound of the band.
Right.
And the blend, and
That's
the
cool.
and about moments. You know, coming through.
Cool.
So it's very good discipline.
Yeah, I don't think I
And
can
it's
do
and it's
it
very good
easily.
for your jazz playing too,
Yeah.
because I don't know if everybody has the well, clearly not everybody feels that less is more, but I believe that less is
It's more.
Is more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that, you really know it when you're playing with like such an artist like James Taylor. Like, you don't. The music it's so complete without you providing too much information, right?
Yes, information, or like you don't need to sound like the player, the jazz player. You know.
Sure.
I don't like. You've heard music where they bring in like a jazzy guest, who's the only person who's doing all the jazz. You know. To me, there are only a few people who really do that well. You know, like it still has to be about taste. You know, and like I've heard a lot of situations with Herbie where it's like, wow, he's doing Herbie, but he's also fitting into this
To whatever
situation.
yeah.
Because he knows when to. It's just taste. It's taste and ears and feel, and or Billy Preston. I was talking to
I don't know much.
Russ about this last night. Billy Preston. You know who Billy Preston is?
I know who that is, but I don't know much about his work.
Oh my God. Well, just start with. Do you like the Beatles?
Mm-hmm.
So you know he's played with the Beatles on 1 or 2 records, mostly Let It Be.
Okay.
When you listen to what Billy Preston is doing on those records, that to me is a perfect example of he wasn't exactly a jazz musician, but he certainly had knowledge of other styles of, you know, music, gospel, jazz inflected soul and R&B. He was the consummate, like in that situation, the consummate sideman that lifted the music with his feeling and his blues inflections and his choices without ever being that guy who's like, well, who's the guy who's being the jazz guy? You know, it just, everything fit like a glove. You know, he didn't take over, he didn't interfere with the personality of the Beatles. He just made it
A little bit
better.
Yeah.
And
more interesting or whatever.
Injected this other kind of soulfulness to the music in the most tasteful way. That's a good example of somebody that's sort of what I want to do on a
Those gigs.
if somebody calls me for a session, like a pop session, but they want me, like they're calling me because they like
how you do things, yes.
Then I feel like I have a little bit of room to try to do that, to try to inflect it with some soulfulness or a good feel or bluesiness that wasn't there before, but in a way that's tasteful.
Right.
You know, that's hard. It's hard to do because you gotta. And with James, who uses a lot of extended chords, you know, he uses 9s and flat 9s and 13s.
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I get to just take that and just run with it and play even more jazz on it. It
Yeah.
really has to fit within his language.
Wow.
And that's like not easy.
Yeah.
You know, so I get into that as being the challenge, you know, even though I'm not able to stretch, it's not appropriate for me to start just like,
all those
um,
scales.
you have to find a way to, you know, meet the challenge in a musical way. So I like the, and I love his music. I'd be less enthused about that challenge in a situation that I just didn't like music.
Right. You kind of have to like the music first, right?
Like when I was with Maceo
Yeah.
Parker. I mean, that's Maceo Parker. I mean, and at the funkiest rhythm section. So playing D9 for 45 minutes with just anybody would be a drag.
Right.
But with Maceo and Fred Wesley and Pee Wee Ellis and Melvin Parker, or it was Bill Stewart actually in the beginning.
Right. Bill came in a little later.
That's what that music is about. And also, I was the bass player, so that was presenting.
good,
That was the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
So I was
That's
focused
so
on
cool.
that.
Yeah.
But it's not like you can just start playing like sharp 9 chords. You know, you need to be. The challenge is to sound authentic.
Almost like a rhythm guitar player. Or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it just, you know, it's like the job is completely different
Yeah.
from showing off what the scale you
Yeah.
got. Or that at least that I know.
Well, Larry Klein, great producer, friend of mine, said to me at a session that he was producing, you know, I was doing an overdub on something, and he's always very encouraging after the take. He'll get on the thing and he goes, "That was great. Can you do another one, but just less playerly?" Less playerly. And he knows that I'm a player, you know, that
Wow.
in my, you know, jazz world.
Kinda crazy. Yeah.
But like it was sort of what I was talking about before. We
Yeah.
don't want you to sound like the jazz guy that I brought in who's doing all this
yeah.
playing. So less playerly. We know that you can do that stuff.
Yeah.
Find an approach that is more right for the music, but pick your moments, you know, and we don't need to hear you show us that you could superimpose a sharp 11 there, you know.
You really keep saying sharp 11.
Yeah. So that was great advice.
Yeah, that's super
I might have been a
cool.
little bit like, you know, at the time.
Right. Was it like did you start doing that kind of work already like a younger age?
What kind of work? Like
the
with pop people?
the pop people.
Russ Titleman was the one who started calling me for
These
things
type
like
of
that,
thing, yeah.
either on piano or organ.
Yeah.
And I would say that I wasn't doing any of those kinds of sessions before Russ. And then certainly once I moved to Los Angeles,
Right.
there were a lot more sessions like that. And as you said, I toured with John Mayer,
Yeah.
recorded on a bunch of his records. And I play organ on his song Gravity, which was a big John Mayer song.
Okay.
And that was another example of like, he just wanted kind of padding on the organ, and that was really cool because he's a really good. Turns out he's a really good producer. Well, he and Steve Jordan were producing, but I remember John said, "You know what? Try another one, but don't turn on the Leslie on. Just keep it on slow."
Wow.
Or off or whatever it was.
Wow. Okay.
Because he didn't want it to be overtly organ. He just didn't want it to be like, oh, that's that soulful organ sound. He just wanted the texture. So I was like, oh, okay, and it went against all my instincts.
Right.
You know?
Because like that's what you thought it would
Yeah,
sound good on.
but that's what I did, and he was right. Just somehow it just like was the right choice.
Wow.
So
I hear that.
there are people out there
Yeah.
who can guide you in a certain way against your instincts, and you are then surprised to find, oh, yeah, you're right. Like,
That's cool.
you don't have to pull out all your tricks, you know. Just like, yeah.
Yeah. Someone recommended me to check out Billy Preston with Hank
Mm.
and Jimmy McGriff. Stepping Up.
Yeah, that's a good record.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Thanks, Mike. Okay, sorry, I'm reading the comments. Oh, great. Oh, someone said, oh, this is great. This is great. Someone's
good.
walking their dogs
Oh,
and then listening to us just chat, and it's
Oh,
really
good.
great. So do it again. Oh, I'm gonna take this moment, and if you enjoyed what you're hearing, I would like to give Larry some money. So just like if you guys can donate, it just basically helps all the Mickey's Mood series. This is my first time unhinged. Oh, this is the unhinged moment. Yes, please. Yeah. This is funny that we get to see it, and my face is just right there. Good camera work.
what I really want to do is direct.
Wow, so great. Yeah, I'm so glad that Larry's my first guest. The Unhinged doesn't really have to be so unhinged, but I just get to talk about music and whatever, and then if hopefully you guys enjoy it and come back to see my series again. And I'm really grateful that Larry has agreed to join me today. So please, donate if you can. If you not, then just spread the words and make your friends watch it, and then hopefully I'll get something good from your algorithm or whatever shit. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey.
Yes. I have one more question. I'm not done yet. So,
Oh.
Larry. Oh, someone donates. Hey, thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much for watching. I have one more question though. This is probably, maybe you don't want to answer because your persona is always like kind of stays between these two. But when did you decide to do Hans Groiner?
Hans Groiner.
Do you want to say that you do it, or you never want to say it?
No,
It's fine.
It's fine. Hans Groiner, the seeds of that, I used to just for friends do a thing where I would say, hey, what if George Winston? Do you remember George Winston?
I have no idea.
He was like he was like a new age piano player. Actually, a really good musician.
Okay.
He made these records that were very soft and well played, and that very not wasn't smooth jazz. It was
Easy listening.
kind of
More.
in that realm.
Okay.
Or John Tesh, or some of these like real vanilla, easy listening piano play. What if one of those people interpreted Thelonious Monk? That was my first, and I just had this knack of
like
doing
if
it.
those people played.
Yeah, what
Monk,
if those people played Monk?
Okay.
And which to me meant you get rid of all the juicy chords and all the weird rhythms and harmonies.
Yeah.
Then and I would just do that. It was just something I had a affinity for, and because I love when music goes wrong. That's one of my favorite things. And so I was doing a session with Curtis Stigers and Matt Wilson and Ben Allison, and at the end of the session, the engineer, somebody said, hey, maybe you should do some of that easy listening Monk stuff. So
you were already doing it.
yeah, but not as Hans Groiner.
No, but like you were already kind of making fun of
Oh
that,
yeah, maybe. I think
like between
I mean,
friends,
Monk is an easy target because it's like it's
Monk is an easy target.
So I mean, it's the kind of perfect thing to ruin, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, let's do. How about if I do like a minute? Let me just do a minute of like a few Monk songs. So
Yes.
so we as a rhythm section just we did Well You Needn't with the easy listening rolling bass, and just a minute of each thing, right? Then remember MySpace, and then he sent me a CD of those. So I had a MySpace, and I was like, what if I make a MySpace with these songs, and I pretend to be some horrible artist who's thinks that this.
Such a brilliant idea.
So that's when I was like searching. It was like early internet days, and I was like searching around for a fake name.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but I came up with Hans. What I was like, is the name Hans Groiner already taken? And it wasn't. Couldn't find it. So I wanted the groin part of it to be in there.
Yeah.
So I just haphazardly put up these 30-second clips
Yeah.
on
Hans Groiner?
MySpace. Hans
You
Groiner.
made a new account and
I
everything.
made a new account, found a picture of some random dude.
Oh, you didn't even use the wig yet.
No,
Oh.
just found a picture of some random dude, made it really dark so you couldn't really see who it was. Called him Hans Groiner.
Yeah.
Made up a fake little biography about him that he's
Yeah.
from Braunau, Austria, which is where Hitler was born. And
Okay. Whoa.
and that he's
Of course you did that.
and that
Jesus Christ.
Hans is this Austrian scholar
Wow.
who
You really made it up.
believes that Monk's music was good, but it had the potential of being really great if only it was
Yeah.
devoid of these dissonances and weird rhythms. And nobody knew it was me. I didn't.
Oh,
you know, and
you
so-
kind
and
of
it was just audio. And then the hate comments just came in to Hans Groiner
So okay.
because they believed it was real. Most people.
Oh
believed
my
it was
God,
real.
that's
It was
incredible.
before any video I did. Yeah.
So like they didn't know your face.
I had people saying, "Who the hell do you think you are to?"
It's like a Alex Hoffman's fuck when shoulder post.
Oh,
you know,
really?
almost like it sounds like it.
Right.
I don't know if he was joking, but like the Facebook became like.
Yeah. So here I am, just like loving the fact that nobody knew it was me,
That's so crazy.
and that's
I
how
love
that was the birth of it.
Okay. That's incredible. I
Yeah.
love it.
And
I
then
didn't
YouTube
know.
happened, and somebody said, "You got to do like video of Hans Groiner." It's like, yeah, but I don't want to be Hans. Like,
Okay, so like then when you decided to make the video, so then people knew that was you, or only few
oh no,
people knew.
some people still didn't get the joke. In fact, one person emailed me and said,
Do you
"Larry,
notice
I
that?"
have a feeling you're gonna like this." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me."
Dude, that's so great.
I actually wanted Adam Rogers to be Hans Groiner because Adam is hilarious, and he does a German accent that is just so perfect, and I can't do it. I don't. Are we frozen?
Oh, no, we're not.
And I didn't want to do a lame accent, you know, because I wanted to be like. So anyway, my friend Liz Cole, who's the sister of Lewis Cole,
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay.
was just out of film school, and I was like, Liz, do you want to help me make like a little
So she's
little
older.
video? No, she's younger.
Whoa.
And so she helped me make the first Hans Groiner video,
Whoa.
which was me in the backyard of the
Yeah,
house
your house, right?
yeah. And that's how
That's already the LA house, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
our first house, and so that's when Hans was truly born, from that little video introducing Hans Groiner.
You already had the wig, right?
I don't know
Try
when I
to
got the wig,
remember.
but I got it at Target. I do remember that.
Yeah.
It was around Halloween, and they had
The look was
you know,
and like the persona was already kind of there. Yeah.
So that's how it all happened. But I remember that the first time I went to a jazz festival, that thing I couldn't believe how many people. That taught me the power of the internet, because the next thing you know, it was everywhere.
Like the funny thing is, like, some people don't know you,
Yeah.
but this person knows who Hans Groiner is.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to me. So like, if you know Hans,
By the way, you can buy a Hans Groiner T-shirt.
that's right. It looks really cool, actually. If I wear a T-shirt.
The link is on my Instagram links.
Yes.
It's called Spring. It used to be called Teespring, and now it's just spring.com. And anyway, I'm selling
Look it
tote
up.
bags now.
Wow.
The totes.
I would buy a tote bag.
Tote bags are
Yeah,
cute.
Hans Groiner tote bag.
Yeah.
Come on, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all how and I remember I went to a festival, and it
And
was.
he does a cameo too.
I do
you want a
cameo,
cameo?
Hans Groiner on cameo.
Yes.
I went to this festival, and people were like, Hans, you know, and I was like, wow, I'm a jazz comedy celebrity now.
Yes, I mean, people know you as one of the funniest jazz musicians, at least alive.
I can't help myself, Mickey. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, like when you get high and like you talk about.
I don't get
what-
high.
No, you sometimes do.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Well, it's good, but whatever. Or drunk, how about?
I don't. How dare you?
I don't think you get drunk on gigs.
I don't get
I don't
drunk or get high. People, I don't know what she's talking about. I am a straight shooter.
Okay, so let's say he's very sober, and then he's on the microphone on those like Bill and Peter's gig, and just it's really so funny and
That's
like
my little chance to be, to pursue
Comedian.
my acting career. Yeah.
comedian career.
I,
Have you done any stand-ups?
No, but I've done, a handful of Hans Groiner gigs.
Yeah, I think I've seen at least one of the.
It's harder than anything I've ever done.
Is it actually hard?
Oh God.
So those people don't know that it's Hans Groiner anyway, right?
Depends where you are. When I did it at Smalls years ago, everybody there knew about it. But
Yeah.
sometimes I've done a couple Hans things where there's some people who are not in the know, and so they're
Yeah.
that's of course. And because of that, I now do things that are not just monk. I'll do songs that like your everyday person might know, like Yesterday by the Beatles or something like that.
Yeah.
In fact, I do a thing, you've probably seen it, where I go, what if Monk played... I do the opposite.
Yes, you
I do the
that.
opposite
Those
of
sound
Hans.
so great, though.
Yeah, so it's
On
like the
your
opposite of
Patreon.
Hans Groiner. What if Monk played
These two.
the Beatles? Which is basically an exercise in what do you know about monk harmony and monkisms and stuff like that.
That's what I think.
What? What's that?
This is what I think about Monk.
What does that mean?
Like with the melody
Oh.
and a half step below.
Oh, right.
Or whole
Yeah.
step. If you do that, it really just that.
Yeah.
It's by itself already makes
Yeah,
it sound.
just tritone substitution everywhere, and anyway, it's a good way to practice your monk
Yes.
knowledge. Yeah,
Always does it.
yeah,
Yeah. I like doing that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I like Monk. That's really funny. I didn't know the history of Hans Groiner.
Yeah,
I got to learn history of Larry Goldings, history of Hans Groiner.
yeah.
Are you planning
And
on
he's-
doing any other things with the Hans
Well,
Groiner? With
Hans
the
is working on, as you might know, his book on the art of accompaniment, called Mein Kampf, and that is coming.
Is it?
Sure.
Yeah, making it happen. That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds so great.
Mein Kampf.
Okay, great.
Mein
Well, thank you,
Kampf.
everybody. Yes, I'm gonna type the link for a donation later, and if you can donate, that will be great. If not, well, thank you, Mike, for donating through the YouTube directly. I appreciate you. Yeah, please thank Larry Goldings
You're
and
welcome.
/ Hans Groiner.
Hands.
That's very American of me. Hans.
Oh, that's going to be
Groiner.
if I do a tour, it's going to be Hans across America.
Oh, Hans across America.
And
Hands.
I think that was the joke. I can't remember. Jazz Hans.
Jazz Hans. That's really funny. Buy his T-shirt.
Yep.
And tote bag.
And tote bags.
I'm gonna get tote bag. That's gonna look hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for Larry to have joined me, and I don't know who the next guest will be, but it's gonna be funny and silly and also serious about music. So
Hans is available.
Hans is available. Would you show up as Hans?
Yeah, you have to remind me to bring the wig. I didn't bring the wig on this trip.
Yeah. Okay. So next time I see Larry in town. Oh no. Next time Hans is in town.
Yes.
For his heavy business, I would like to invite Hans Groiner to be Mickey's Mood Unhinged guest.
All right.
So, check it out. Keep an eye out. And thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys later. This month, I'm doing the Mickey's Mood with a special guest, the music part, with my husband Jimmy and some great guests. I don't know who they are just yet, but later this month. So please subscribe my channel, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Incredible, Larry. Incredible.
I'm going to keep waving.
I'm still waiting.